Okay, welcome everyone to the City of Victorville Planning Commission meeting of July 13th, 2022. I will call this meeting to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Cook Askins.
Present.
Commissioner Messin.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Harriman.
Here.
Chair Kurth.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Next up, we will have our invocation led to us by Commissioner Messin and our Pledge of Allegiance by Vice Chairman Harriman. If you'll please rise.
Give us a good health today and allowing us to.
Amen.
Place your hand over your heart and ready, begin. Indivisible.
Before we move into the public comments, I'd like to read the public participation overview. The Planning Commission is interested in hearing from the public. Individuals from the public may speak on agenda items or on issues not posted on the agenda during this public comment section, providing those comments are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Individual speakers may address the Planning Commission once per public comment period and once per each public hearing item for up to 3 minutes. For those attending the meeting in person, and although not required, please complete a speaker card prior to the start of the meeting. If you'd like to comment on a public hearing item, please submit a speaker's card on the hearing item before it's announced. For those attending by Zoom, please click the raise your hand feature located on the Zoom screen. Whether attending this meeting in person or via Zoom, once comments are invited, the speaker will be called on by name, then recognized by the presiding officer. Audience members may not disrupt, disturb, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, and those who are due are subject to penalty. Your understanding and cooperation are appreciated. So with that, we'll move into the general public comments section of the meeting. I don't see anyone in the audience. Do we have anyone online?
No, we do not.
Okay, I'll close the general public comment section. Next up, we have approval of 3 sets of meeting minutes from April 13th, 2022, May 11th, 2022, and June 8th, 2022. Are there any corrections? If not, we're ready for a motion.
Commissioner Cook Askins make a motion to approve item number 1 for the approval of minutes.
I second.
We have a first by Commissioner Cook Askins, a second by Commissioner Messin. Take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins.
Aye.
Commissioner Messin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas. Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Chair Kurth.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next up is our public hearing items. Item number 2, staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 2 is planning case number PLAN 22-0004. It is a site plan with an initial study and mitigated negative declaration to allow for the development of an approximately 18,000 square foot warehouse and distribution facility on an undeveloped property zoned M2 heavy industrial located at the southeast corner of Ottawa Street and Enterprise Way. This is an area typically referred to as the Foxborough Industrial Park. Specifically, this project consists of an 18,825 square foot building. Approximately 11,000 square feet of that will be for warehouse and distribution space, and another approximately 7,700 square feet for office space. This facility includes roll-up doors for loading and delivery functions, and the intended use of this facility will be for warehousing and delivery of soft drinks and prepackaged food items. The underlying site is zoned M2, and the proposed use complements existing industrial development to the south and east, and is also adequately buffered from future commercial development to the west by landscaping, a drainage facility as well that traverses the site from north to south. As proposed, the project complies with all general development and parking standards of the Victorville Municipal Code, including setbacks, lot coverage, building height, and landscaping. There is a 6-foot tall wrought iron fence along the property's street frontage that will be replacing an existing 6-foot chain link fence. And this fence height is acceptable pursuant to municipal code in as much as it is installed as a protective barrier to restrict access to the drainage facility that traverses the site. As proposed, the project elevations are provided in accordance with the industrial design guidelines. The applicant has worked with staff to revise the elevations in a manner that provides sufficient variation in wall planes, parapet heights, and building materials throughout the site. Regarding the environmental review, this project was processed with an initial study and a mitigated negative declaration that went through the California Environmental Quality Act and the State Clearinghouse. As such, the proposal includes mitigation measures to address air quality issues, biological resources, tribal and cultural resources, geology and soils, greenhouse gas emissions, hydrology and water, and transportation. All of these mitigation measures adequately address comments received from other responsible agencies as well as noted in the staff report. Additionally, the applicant earlier today submitted a letter from their project biologist noting that there is no sensitive plant species on site. This effectively would fulfill condition of approval number 38. However, because site plan approvals, if this project is approved, are good for 3 years, staff would seek to maintain condition of approval 38 should development be delayed, because biological surveys are typically good for a period of 1 year. So this would allow the city to be covered in case development of the project is delayed in the future. That being said, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Adopt the attached mitigated negative declaration with a mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, and adopt resolution number P-22-034, approving site plan case number PLAN 22-00004, subject to the attached conditions of approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the commission on this project?
I have just two. Are there any concerns, should the project move forward with building and road improvements to interfere with the Green Tree extension since of the close proximity? Like there being more congestion on the road or anything like that?
I don't think so. Since this is industrial use, I think it'll have a pretty low traffic generation, so I don't really see a huge impact.
And then I believe in the documents it mentions there's a pipe that has water drainage on site. Does that need to be relocated, or is it far from where the actual build's gonna be?
No, that you're talking about the drainage facility that traverses the site. No, that will remain in place.
Thank you, that's all.
Any other questions at this time? Okay, then I will go ahead and I'll open up the public hearing for any comments on agenda item number 2. I don't see anyone to speak in the audience. Is there anyone online that would speak to us?
No, there is not.
Okay, well then I will close the public hearing on that one and bring it back to the commission for any further discussions or for a determination.
I, Commissioner Messin, move to approve the project.
I'll second that.
So I have a first by Commissioner Messin, a second by Vice Chair Harriman. Take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins,
Aye.
Commissioner Messin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas. Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Chair Kurth.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I was just curious on that one. This was nothing really for the public hearing, but I liked the elevations on this building. I was just curious, was that the applicant's prototypical style that they came up with, or was the city involved with helping with that look?
That was, they revised the elevations based on city comments. However, that very much is the applicant. Staff doesn't typically give concrete direction on elevations. It's more broad strokes and how to comply with the industrial design guidelines. So the first view of the elevations needed revision to comply, and then the applicant proposed this, which was
It's a little different, than normal. I like it. Thanks. Next, we'll move on to the continued public hearing portion of the meeting. Looks like we're getting requests for continuances once again on items 3, 4, and 5. So I would like to open all those together to see if there's any comments. First, are there any questions or comments on these items from the commissioners? Hearing none, then I will open the public hearing on items number 3, 4, and 5 for anyone to testify. Seeing no one in the audience, do we have anyone online for item number 3?
We do not.
Number 4
We do not.
and number 5?
No.
Okay, then I will leave the public hearing open and I'll make a motion to continue all 3 of these, item number 3, 4, and 5, to the August 10th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting.
I have a first by Chair Kurth and a second by Commissioner Thomas. I'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Cook Askins.
Aye.
Commissioner Messin.
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas. Vice Chair Harriman.
Aye.
Chair Kurth.
Aye,
Motion passes unanimously for items 3, 4, and 5.
thank you. Next up is the new business, item number 6. You want to kick that off, staff?
Sure. Thank you, Chairman Kurth, fellow commissioners. Good afternoon. Item number 6 is a discussion on shopping cart containment requirements. At our June meeting, the commission gave direction to return to have a discussion on our current municipal code requirements related to shopping cart containment. So before you is a brief staff report with attachments that include the current municipal code standards. To give a brief overview of the current municipal code standards before we get your feedback, there is a requirement for all businesses that have shopping carts to provide signage. That's on-premise signages and as well as signage on the carts themselves, so we can have a better grasp of who is in violation and seek reimbursement as we retrieve those carts. Secondly, upon staff or the contracted retrieval service company, as they collect more than 10 within 1 month, the requirement is that they provide their own retrieval service. So that takes that cost off the city to retrieve those carts. If they're in excess of 20 carts per month, they are supposed to provide a cart containment plan, which includes the signage requirements, but it also includes requirements to have physical containment on site. That could mean a coin operated machine, or could include the wheel locks that you see at a lot of establishments. So enforcement of this ordinance, I would say, hasn't been a top priority, but we have seen, based on the retrieval numbers and the reports that we received, a great improvement where some businesses were, violating having over 100 carts within 1 month. We do still see some that are in violation that exceed, a little bit over 20 carts per month. So we have seen improvement. I believe the direction and the discussion today could be focused around how we tighten this code to achieve more compliance. But we wanted to kind of give you that overview and get your feedback today and answer any questions you may have. So I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks. And I know, I think Commissioner Harriman, you kind of brought this up at the last meeting. Do you want to kick off with any thoughts or where you might want to go with this or?
Actually, I like that, Scott. That's the way it's written right now?
That is the way it's written right now. And right before this meeting, we pulled our recent report. So just this year, there's 5 businesses that have had a violation in this current year, over 20 carts. But we as the city haven't had the resources to actively pursue those. So if we can make it a priority, we can make sure that code enforcement is notifying them, and we'll follow up to make sure that those physical retrieval requirements are put in place. Or we can look at other options by tightening the code, by lowering that threshold. We could even bring it down to 1 for those existing businesses. If there's 1 cart found off your site, we could institute these requirements. We could also base it off of if there's a violation and they have a certain inventory on their site. So base it off of how many carts they have on their site as well. So there's a variety of ways we can look at it to tighten it. But the code is set up. It has made improvements to the situation in our city. Prior to 2013, we had a lot more violations, but we could, based on your direction, pursue tightening the code further.
That seems fine with me. I actually like the way it's written. Maybe we just can be a little better at enforcing it. I know code enforcement is stressed, that's for sure. But yeah, it seems to go in spurts. I don't know if it's a seasonal thing or what, but sometimes I tend to see it happening quite a bit, and then it'll disappear for a while. I don't know if that's because code enforcement has notified, the retail customer, but yeah, I think with those guidelines and being enforced, we should be okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely follow up with code enforcement and pursue the 5 that are in violation just to get compliance. I think we'll see even more improvement just based on that effort.
Do you have any idea how many businesses in Victorville currently deal with shopping carts and that would fall under this policy?
Just on the sheet I'm looking at here, roughly 30.
About 30 of them?
One more thing. Who's the worst? What you said? There's 5. You've enforced 5 stores out of compliance.
I haven't independently verified these numbers, so I'd probably like to hold off on naming a specific business at this point. But as you can imagine, they're highly trafficked businesses.
Okay.
That have a good amount of business.
It's probably going to be grocery or home improvement. I'm going to guess that
Yes.
without saying any names.
I was gonna add to that, if we're seeing this happening frequently in specific locations, maybe we can send someone out more often if it's known that location tends to have this issue. So we can look into that.
Exactly. Yeah. So if anytime, please contact planning or code enforcement directly, and we can make sure that those areas are frequented more and that there's more communication with those business owners.
Yeah, I know a while back, where I live, along Amethyst there, I always saw carts. They were always homeless people were taking them, and a lot of people would just leave them. They were everywhere. And I was, once this was brought up, I was just and read through this. I was kind of trying to think, when's the last time? And I don't recall recently, at least in my area, seeing all that blight as much. I'd get them in my front yard sometimes. It happened once, but I was surprised. But I don't see that too much in the vacant lots as much. So then that's maybe that's what we do. Just kind of be a little more cognizant on, like you had mentioned, the hot areas, and see if we can keep up the good work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so then we'll move on to the any presentations and reports. We'll start with the Planning Commission. Commissioner Thomas, anything to comment on our report?
I know that a lot of the new developments things that happen about a year or so, the grasses, the weeds, weeds start to grow. Cars parked sideways, and I believe my colleague here has mentioned that a few times, but I'm just seeing more and more of it. And I'm wondering, are these owners that are buying, or that are living in these homes? Are they, and I know we have no control over that, but it just seems that some of the new developments are just going down before they even get going good, even get started good out there. So just a concern. And the question is, are owners being held accountable for that?
Again, yeah, there's a city enforcement element to that, and it starts with being aware of the issue. So if you have residents or yourself that are concerned with that, please contact code enforcement. With 74 square miles, sometimes we don't see all of those violations, and it benefits us to get that feedback from the community.
Thank you. Commissioner Harriman.
So that is a pet peeve of mine. And I know code enforcement can't be proactive. They need to be reactive. They just got too much on the plate. But I would agree. I believe in 1989, when I bought our house, we had to sign something saying we wouldn't park a motorhome in the street, and cars would actually have to be in our garage. And I know that's old hat, maybe. What did they call that? CC&Rs or something like that?
Yeah.
Does that exist today when people are buying these new homes and these planned unit developments?
It's hard to say. I would say it's a case by case. We typically don't get involved with the CC&Rs. However, if it is something that's above and beyond what our normal municipal code states, and they're located within a master plan, specific plan, or PUD, and they have some unique requirements, sometimes the developer does roll those into the CC&Rs. And we can enforce those if it complies, if it matches what's in their specific plan as a code. So I would say, though, Victorville, compared to other cities, it is lacking some of, in comparison to other cities that have a lot more planned communities with active HOAs that can monitor those type of violations.
Okay, and then the other day, somebody contacted me, and they own some properties in Victorville, and they do rent them out. They are permitted and they comply. And he had a tenant move out, and he was cleaning up the house, painting and what have you. And he had paint that was left by the tenant. And he wanted to bring it to our center where you can do that. And they denied him because he doesn't live in Victorville. Well, I think we need to look at that, because if you can provide proof of some type that you own, pay the property taxes, that you should be able to do that. Now, I don't think getting turned away, I mean, that's like, I mean, we're trying to avoid the desert getting full of trash. So I think it would be a good change. I don't know if they were, incorrectly turned away from being able to dispose of the paint or not, but I do know in the recycling center, I take stuff over there, and they do ask where it's coming from, and they want some type of proof, your driver's license or something, that you do actually reside in the city. But I think we should figure out a way to monitor that and regulate it in a way that if you're a property tax paying person, I wouldn't say citizen because they don't live in Victorville, that they should be able to use those, they should be able to do that.
Okay, thank you for that. I can get you in touch with the appropriate staff person to explain their protocols.
Okay. And so with that, I'm done.
Commissioner Cook Askins?
Yes, just two things, just a couple observations. One thing I noticed that there was some new signal light signage that went up on the corner of La Paz and Roy Rogers Drive. And one of the new signs says Roy Rogers Road instead of Roy Rogers Drive.
You're very observant. I wonder if that was a city sign. We can check into that, because I know that at one point it becomes the Caltrans right of ways, but we can look into it.
Sure. And then the second thing is the trash enclosures behind the Big Lots and the dollar store. They have a really nice trash enclosure, but I don't know if it's being utilized or not, because there's usually 4 or 5 dumpsters left out continuously. A lot of trash and things. So
And again, what businesses were those?
that was the Big Lots and the Dollar Tree on La Paz and Roy Rogers there. And that's all I have.
Thanks. Commissioner Messin?
I just wanted to say that the city put together a wonderful 4th of July event. It was really spectacular, but other than that, I don't have anything. Thank you.
And any reports from staff?
Just that this Friday, there's a concert in the park. Planning will have a booth out. So if you're able to make it, please stop by the booth.
That's Hook Park, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.